Alright, so the topic of this video is going to be the Patriot Act and fifth generation warfare. And essentially, the reason why I'm talking about the Patriot Act in connection to fifth generation warfare is because the Patriot Act is essentially what allowed the government to utilize propaganda designed for other countries on American citizens, whereas it was prohibited before. But oddly enough, and I have to look into it, but in World War II the same thing occurred, but I don't think that there was legislation at that time that prevented the government from doing such things. But all of that doesn't matter now, since the Patriot Act in 2001, which is a result of 9/11, which I'm not going to go into detail about that because it'll get this channel flagged instantly, I know it. But so the first, let me make sure that it's actually showing my screen. Okay. The first part of this video is the Patriot Act, and from history.com, which people tend to love and trust the History Channel, the Patriot Act is a legislation passed in 2001 to improve the abilities of U.S. law enforcement to detect and deter terrorism. The Act's official title is Uniting and Strengthening America by Providing Appropriate Tools Required to Intercept and Obstruct Terrorism, or USA-Patriot. Though the Patriot Act was modified in 2015 to help ensure the constitutional rights of ordinary Americans, some provisions of the law remain. Now this right here, this statement, is obviously disinformation within itself. The Patriot Act certainly does not protect anybody and their constitutional rights, and it certainly is not solely for the purpose of deterring terrorism. The Patriot Act literally allows the government to utilize fifth generation warfare. So we'll hop over here to Wikipedia, which, yes, Wikipedia is full of misinformation, but I just wanted to show, because this is not, you can find this on any other website. This was just the easiest way to show. But fifth generation warfare is conducted primarily through non-kinetic military actions such as social engineering, misinformation, cyber attacks, and other emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and fully autonomous systems. Fifth generation warfare has been described by Daniel Abbott as a war of information and perception. And that's exactly what we're experiencing right now, is information and perception is being altered by the people in charge of everything, which isn't necessarily the federal government, but more so the elite bankers and people like that who actually control everything. And so basically the Patriot Act is what allowed fifth generation warfare to take place in our country. And what's worse is in 2012 the Obama administration passed the Smith Modernization Act of 2012. And no matter what you read from the official sources, the truth about this bill, which is right here, this is HR.5736, the 112th Congress. So this basically, and it says right here, it says to amend the United States Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948 to authorize domestic dissemination of information and material about the United States intended primarily for foreign audiences and for other purposes. In other words, what this means, and you can read through it, and I have many times, but essentially what that means is they're using a bunch of big words and shit to confuse you, when in reality this bill is stripping you of the constitutional rights that we had left, and it's allowing media outlets such as Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and any media outlet that's essentially, it's all curated now, and they're told what to say, they're told what they're not allowed to say. And that's not to say that it hasn't always been the case, which it probably has since the beginning of media. Media has always been to control population. It has never been to inform the population. But links to this information, such as this page, and really just this link, and I do this on the fly. There's no script to this. I'm just talking and doing it on the fly based off information that I've looked into and that I know to be true, and others also know this to be true. And this is the .gov. This is www.govinfo .gov. This is not a conspiracy website. This isn't some crazy, random person on the internet. This is information that you can find on our government websites. It's just that the media doesn't cover it and people don't talk about it. And frankly, they don't want us to talk about these things, because these things, these bills that they pass, and these acts, the Patriot Act, all these things are designed to control the population. They have no interest in keeping you safe at all whatsoever. So I just wanted to make this quick little video to explain the certain situations that we're experiencing right now, where the media is constantly trying to tell you that there are people who are trying to mislead you with misinformation, but this can't possibly be misinformation if this comes directly from their mouths. This information is published by these people that tell you that this information is not real. So clearly somebody's lying, and I'll leave it up to you to decide who's lying. But it's very important that you realize that in this country and around the world, there are legislations in place which allow propaganda to be created and used on populations of countries and globally. And that everything you see on television, social media, the internet, all of it, when it says it's an official trusted source and it has a check mark or some sort of verifying indication, you must understand that these things are not verified because they're so honest and truthful. These things are verified because they do exactly what they're told, and they spread the information they're told to spread. All these things are happening all at once, and it's too confusing for most people to want to even try to figure out. But that's what's happening here. Is we have the Patriot Act, which allowed fifth generation warfare, which is what we're currently experiencing. And this is just one example. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012 is just one example of the many, many bills that have been passed in order to continue to lie to the people of this country and people globally, and make sure that there are legal processes to persecute those who point out that what they're doing is lying to everybody and trying to control everybody. And so that concludes today's this video. I'll leave a link to this bill in the description so that you can read through it for yourself and determine what you think that it means. And there'll be more content coming, and like I said in the last video, if you don't want to hear any of this, and just turn this off. You don't have to listen to this. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to disagree with it. It doesn't matter. I'm just putting this out there so that people can see this and understand the seriousness of our situation. So that's it for this video.